Libra, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Libra. Now, keep in mind these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages there as well. Okay, let's get started here for Libra. What is the energy around the week ahead for Libra? A leg up. Oh, I love that for you, Libra. Something's coming in to give you some support. You may need to be open, though, Libra. You have to be open to receive in order to get that support, which is, I think, sometimes the hardest thing. Now, we see mending on the bottom of the deck. So something is healing. Something is coming into a peaceful resolution. We also see the peace card here with yin. So I feel like you're getting some support towards something to allow a situation to sort of come back to life. It almost feels like you're coming back to life, and that you may need some movement here from an old story, a narrative that needs changing. You know, and it's interesting. It feels like the pathway to your peace, your inner peace, and sort of feeling whole and complete and connected to yourself comes through changing a narrative that's in your mind about something being over, something no longer being a part of your life, or it's almost like you're telling yourself, oh, I can't do that anymore, or that was me from the past. And you know, it's almost like you're remembering fond memories and thinking, well, you know, that'll never be again. But I actually think something's coming in to try to support you to bring that back. But you've got to open the door here, Libra. You've got to allow that energy in, because I feel like the obstacle you're facing right now that needs movement is this narrative running in your mind that you somehow are unable or can't, or there's this sort of negative narrative saying that you can't, or you won't be able to, or you won't know how, or it's not possible. It's very limiting, whatever this narrative is, and it's keeping you closed, and it's keeping something from coming back to life. And it feels like something that really resonates with your creativity and your intuition and your vibe. Like you got this yin energy here coming through with that peace. Whatever this is brings you great peace, and it brings you great joy and creativity and flow. It's like you feel connected to yourself when you do, or are part of this energy, whatever it may be. It's something about you making the first move, though. You've got to make a move here. You have to change the narrative. But I feel like you also need to be open and receptive to receiving help and support. And that may be part of what is the obstacle here, is that you're not open to that. You know, it's like, yeah, you're not open to that right now. And I think that's part of this narrative that says, I can do it on my own, you know, or if I can't do it on my own, then I'm not going to do it. It's very critical of you're being critical of yourself as well. And you're not really making space for anything other than this idea of fear and self-criticism, which is actually creating a lot of procrastination, no movement. And this needs mending. This needs healing. This needs time to recover here. You need to change this narrative. This is really interesting. This reading in the oracle cards is actually quite clear about what needs to happen here and what's the obstacle. You know, that there's support available to you. It's almost like you just have to put yourself out there again. And you have to sort of change this belief system first. That, you know, it sounds a little cliche, but like this idea of you have to believe it's possible first. And then you have to open yourself up to it. And then as you open yourself up to it and synchronicities align you to people and places and opportunities that can support you, you have to be open and say yes. to those things. You know what I mean? And to not deny yourself this moment of creativity. I feel like there's something you really want to express, but you're holding it back. And it's a creative expression. It's something that brings you to life. There's that 10 of Cups. Yeah. This is something that makes you feel fulfilled, happy, creative, content, joyful, at peace. It gives you a sense of healing almost. Why are you denying this to yourself? There's the Lovers. You got to make a choice, my friends. You've got to choose this. This is a choice. This doesn't happen because things in the external world make you happy. This happens because you feel like you're choosing things that make you happy. You're choosing actions and you're choosing behaviors and narratives that give you joy. And then you start to find evidence for that in the external world. Things start to line up and come into your energy. And then once you say yes and sort of allow those things to come into your energy, things shift. Like, there's something here that needs changing, and it's part of that narrative. Page of Swords, right down to the studs, my friends. You know, the idea of when you build a house or you're renovating a house, I should say, it's renovating a house. You've got the house already. The house represents you, and you're renovating. You've got to take it down to the studs. That means you got to remove the drywall. You got to get rid of the insulation, because all of that stuff, it's got some sort of narrative running through it that is not serving you. And it almost feels like it's penetrated even like the wiring of the house. Like this is a big narrative switch. We got to bring this down to the studs. And I feel like you're going to start feeling the need to sort of release comparisons, release self-judgment and self-criticism. Don't find yourself, like, let's say you're scrolling on Instagram and you're looking at people doing the kind of thing that you want to do, and you're like, oh, well, they're doing it so much better, and look at how successful they are, and well, I'm never going to get there. And it's like, look at them for inspiration, not more self-criticism. If you see someone doing something that it's in line with something you want to do, cheer for them. Cheer for them, because you're essentially cheering for yourself when you do that. Cheer for them and be like, yeah, look at people doing this thing that I love to do, and they're doing it well, and that means I have the potential to do it well. And if they can do it, I can do it. And if other people are doing it, what's stopping me from doing it? You have it in you already. This is something that is part of the foundation, and it's just the additions of this self-criticism have created obstacles. But this is already a part of you. Whatever this creative idea, experience, talent, skill, ability is, and it brings you to life. But there's this narrative that says, I can't. And then that turns into I won't and I don't. So choose it. Yeah, this is confidence here. You don't feel like you can overcome obstacles right now. And I'm telling you, this is just the wiring in the house. This is the narrative that needs to be changed. This is the story you tell yourself. So it becomes like something you find evidence for, because you might be like, well, Marie, but I do procrastinate, and I don't practice, and I don't work on my skills. And it's like, okay, but is that because you're not capable, or is that because you're telling yourself this narrative? I feel like you are very capable. You just need to put in some time. You need moderation. You need balance. You need to sort of be present in today and say, I'm going to pour water from one cup to another, and I'm going to see a result. It might not take the shape that I imagine right away, but it takes time for things to flow. It takes time for energy to become in sort of a vortex of momentum where it's spiraling and moving. And that comes with your will and your free will, your choice. It comes with your inspired action. It's one step at a time. Start by saying yes. Start by saying yes today, Libra, and see what shifts. Little steps every day towards something leads to momentum, Change that narrative and start saying yes to things that you love and feel fulfilled doing. There's the Page of Swords again. It's interesting. You don't need to talk about this with others. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You don't need to do anything like that. You just need to shift inside. Shift within. Don't worry about the external world and comparing yourself. Turn off social media for a while. If for some reason I'm feeling like social media is making you feel small, then turn it off until you can use social media to inspire yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't let it make you feel small and this resignation where you give up. I feel like as you're leveling up right now, you just need to keep your sword close to your chest and focus on taking one inspired action every day towards whatever makes you feel so fulfilled. Don't resign yourself to not doing anything because you're like, wow, I'm never going to do a good job. Take one step at a time. It almost feels like you don't want to be bad at something. You know what I think about that? I think that is this perfectionism that is like running rampant in our civilization, where it's like if you're not amazing at something, then you don't do any of it. No, that I really think comes from overly comparing yourself to others, or comparing yourself to others, period. And instead of seeing that as a source of inspiration that shows you evidence that this is possible. You know what I mean? It's possible. If someone else is doing it, then that means it's possible. And so use that as evidence instead of sort of material to self-criticize. Start being in balance and choosing to just be yourself and do your thing and take one step at a time towards it. I think you're starting to realize that, and it's like you just have to integrate it, There's the Hierophant. Take the lead. Take the first step, Libra. Take it. Take it. Take that first inspired step and be your own motivation. Be your own boss. Be your own sense of determination and decision making. This is coming on to the Lovers to clarify. So it's like, take the choice. Trust yourself. Trust that you can take decisive action and that you can be determined and focused, and that will yield results, and you will find yourself celebrating very soon. I feel like that's a game changer for you, Libra. Yep, there's the game changer right there. This could lead to a huge transformation, and it could be very sudden. And I feel like all it needs is a little bit of a push. One step at a time, one inspired action at a time, changing that narrative. Changing that narrative and taking inspired action. Choosing it, believing it's possible, and visualizing it, visualizing yourself, like really putting yourself into whatever it is that makes you feel that I'm alive feeling, and being open to support instead of comparing yourself to others, being vulnerable and saying, hey, you're really good at this and I'm working on this. What advice would you give someone like me? You know what I mean? Like taking courses, taking seminars, understanding the subject that you're working on, and then taking those inspired actions, really feeling inspired here. On the Strength card, yeah, put your mind at rest. Your mind is playing some serious tricks on you here with this narrative. You need to wipe this narrative clean. You need a blank slate that starts with I can. It starts with I can. And I feel like that's where you need to shift the narrative, right there. Right in those I can statements. There's the Hierophant in reverse telling you to reject outdated traditions. Even if they've been downloads that you've accepted since you were a child, it's time to reject those things because they're not serving you. And all they're doing to serve you is this. They're keeping you up, sort of rocking yourself in bed and worrying and feeling fear and paranoia and feeling this idea of no movement is possible. I'll never achieve this. I'm going to be like this forever. This is how my life is going to stay. No, my friends. That is a choice. Look at these two people. They're both holding their head in their hands. Here, I'll turn that card over so you can see it a little better. It doesn't have to be this way. Believe it or not, sitting in this level of anxiety is a program. And it's a program that right now you're allowing that program to run without checking it. You got to check this and flip it. Turn the script off. This is not serving you, Libra. There is so much higher ground you can achieve by changing the narrative. And I think that this is going to shift for you when you choose to let it shift. It's very interesting here, Libra. You've got, it almost feels like you have this immense amount of ability, talent, skill. You have this capacity and ability to do something that gives you so much joy, but you've convinced yourself that it's not possible. And it's time to see that if you believe it's possible, it's possible. So start there. Start with the beliefs. Shift those first. Get into balance with those beliefs. Oh, Libra, this is such an exciting reading. There's so much potential here. So much potential here. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this has been helpful. If it's resonated for you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, you can find that information in the description below. And I'm sending you so much love and light, my friends, and I look forward to reading for you again soon. Take care.